Officer's vest took the brunt of it near his shoulder. He was treated at a hospital in good condition. One of 36 people shot in the city since Friday night. 5 did not survive. Last weekend, 85 people were shot in the city with 24 fatalities. Chicago began late last week, moving into phase 3 of its plan to reopen the economy. That means more city services became available again Monday morning, with social distancing rules still in place, including some city parks and golf courses. WGN's Judy Wang has details.
Grant Park is open, but Buckingham Fountain has yet to come alive. Park access in the sunshine make it a fine morning for a stroll.
Just walking city streets is interesting. It's great, but being out here at Buckingham Fountain and Grant Park and all the other wonderful areas that we have in Chicago is we've missed that the most.
Days after the city entered phase 3 of its reopening plan, parks west of Lakeshore Drive are open for the first time since March, when the stay-at-home order began. Park District field houses are open from 9 to 5, but for restroom and shelter use only. Step by step, visitors say they'll adjust.
It's just claustrophobic. It's good to get outside and do things and not be limited by the rules that were put in place for the quarantine.
Golfers can play away from the lake. The Diversey driving range and the Jackson Park course reopened this morning.
Till the summertime is those 3 months right now, really 4 months that you can really enjoy it. And this is their time. This is the time when they got to play. Obviously, you're not going to play in February.
At Harold Washington Library and neighborhood branches, there are capacity limits, computer time limits. The furniture is spaced farther apart and face coverings are required. While many are happy to see more restrictions lifted, they keep asking, what about the lakefront?
Doesn't make any sense. It should be open. People should be sitting outside and should be exercising, building up the immunity.
Mayor Lightfoot says an announcement on lakefront trails is coming soon. WGN Sports, Chicago Cubs president of baseball operations Theo Epstein says that the franchise has room to improve when it comes to hiring diversified talent for the front office. Says he and Chairman Tom Ricketts and president of business operations Crane Kenny plan to form a committee aimed at setting what he called a better standard. We're seeing another proposal by Major League Baseball aimed at getting the season going by early July. Calls for a 76-game regular season with expanded playoffs that would accommodate anywhere from 10 to as many as 16 teams. Under the proposal, players would earn about 75% of their prorated salaries. So far, union players have refused cuts beyond what they'd already agreed to back in March. Last month, team owners proposed an 82-game schedule. The Players' Union countered with a 114-game schedule at prorated pay that would extend the regular season by a month through October. They're trying to get an agreement in place to open by 4th of July weekend. The NFL and the Players' Union have sent a planner to the 32 teams outlining procedures for the full reopening of their practice facilities. Still no timetable on a return of most players to team complexes. I'm Vic Vaughn on Chicago's very own 720 WGN.
Do you have silver or gold to sell? Call me, the Antique Lady. Now is the best time. Call the Antique Lady at 773-262-1000. For years, WGN listeners have been calling the Antique Lady to sell their antiques and art. Why go to the mall or send your family treasures through the mail? Call 773-262-1000 for a buyer you know and trust. Bring your sterling silver flatware, trays, teapots, and candlesticks to the Antique Lady. Old, broken, and unworn gold pieces sitting in the drawer can be turned into cash. Deal with a family-owned business that's been in the same location for over 30 years. At 6901 Northwestern Avenue in Chicago, you'll receive a fair price with no pressure to sell. Call 773-262-1000 today.
Sunshine, open up your sleepy eyes for me. Can't have your hiding.
Great song.
I've been waiting.
Great song. Hey, Nick Digilio here on 720 WGN. We are live in the Skyline studio here until 4 o'clock. At 4 o'clock, we head over to Bradley Place, the TV side of WGN. get an hour's worth of news from them, those great folks. And then 5 o'clock, it's the one and only Bob Surratt for your morning drive on a Tuesday morning. 312-981-7200 is the number if you would like to join us. We're going to be talking about things that you might not know were named after people. And who were you named after? There might be a story there that kind of might be fun, like if you were named after a thing or a person or something. If the origin is a little strange. 312-981-7200. Here's Doc on WGN. Hey, Doc.
Hey, man, I bet you know this, but Ron Howard's children,
yep,
all their middle names are named after places where they were conceived.
Yep. So
Bryce Dallas Howard.
Yep.
His son was Reed Cross Howard. They were staying in a hotel on Cross Street in London, and both his daughters were conceived in the Carlisle Hotel in New York. So it's Jocelyn Carlisle and Paige Carlisle.
Yeah, I knew that.
Hey, I got one other one for you. My best friend from graduate school, his name was Mike Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T.
Yeah.
And he named his kids Justin, Rebecca, and Allison, and never did tell them that they were just right, rewrite, and all right.
That's good. Doc, thanks, buddy.
Good morning.
Take care. Yeah. So Bryce Dallas Howard conceived in Dallas.
What does she? Does she know that? I'm guessing she knows that.
Of course, she knows that. Yeah.
Yeah. I would. The day I found that out, I would probably just scream for 12 hours, knowing that that is part of my name, and I have to know that for literally the rest of my life.
It's very strange. It's very strange, especially especially from Ron Howard. You know what I mean?
From Opie, man.
Like you wouldn't expect that from Richie Cunningham. You know?
That's just, why would you do that to your kids?
I don't know.
It's like, you know how celebrities name their kid like Apple or
Gwyneth Paltrow and what's his face?
Chris Martin from Coldplay.
Right.
It's bad enough being their kid. You know, now your name has to be Apple.
Yeah. Well, celebrities, I mean, listen, look, Frank Zappa.
Yeah, Moon Unit.
And Dweezil.
Yeah. I'll give it up for Moon Unit. I think that's kind of cool. I have a hard drive called Moon Unit.
Well, you have to understand though, when she was born and they said her name was Moon Unit, the whole media went nuts. They're like, how the hell could you name your kid Moon Unit? Now it's kind of charming. Here's Trucker Rich on WGN. Hey, Rich.
Hey, evening, Nick. How you guys doing tonight?
All right.
I'm named after my two uncles. My first name is my oldest uncle, and my middle name is after my youngest uncle on my mom's side.
Oh, okay.
But the Harley Davidson motorcycles, that's two families, and majority of the original car manufacturers in the U.S. were named after, people.
Mm-hmm.
It was like Oldsmobile, and guy's last name was Chevrolet, and Buick.
Yeah.
And Dodge was after the Dodge brothers and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff like that. And some of the Japanese cars and motorcycles are named after real people. So
yeah, it's a common thing.
But yeah.
Yep. All right, Rich. Yep. Thanks.
Yep. Have a good one.
All right. 312-981-7200. Were you named after someone or something? Do you have a story about someone that you know or somebody in your family who was named after something specific or someone specific? And we also have things that are named after famous people. But first, this whole thing started because there's a story about a new beetle species, Beetle, that's going to be named after the band The Beatles, Beatles. Last year, a group of entomologists and citizen scientists discovered Vondelpark, the busiest city park in Amsterdam, and discovered a beetle species that was new to science. Found only a stone's throw away from the Amsterdam Hilton, where 50 years previously John Lennon and Yoko Ono held their bed-ins for peace, beetle was named in honor of the Beatles. Potamphagus the Beatles. There was one beetle sleeping in a hotel in Amsterdam, John Lennon with Yoko Ono, while another beetle, Beetle, was waiting to be discovered. said Ruud Marshall, one of the citizen scientists taking part. As a former citizen of Amsterdam, it was amazing to find that new beetle species in the middle of our capital. That's pretty cool. So there's now a beetle, the bug beetle, that's named after the Beatles, the band Beatles. So, let's see. 312-981-7200 is the phone number. So we also have things here that we have some species that have been named after famous people. We'll get into that too. But we also want to hear from you, your stories about who were you named after, what's the origin of your name, if you were named after something or some person. Here's John in Decatur. Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing? I was named after my uncle, John Butler, so this is kind of a tragic story. He was out at my aunt's house. He said, I want to mow the lawn because he's bored. And about 10 minutes later, the neighbor ran out and said, there's a man laying down in your yard. He had a heart attack. He had died.
Oh.
He died the same year I was born.
Oh.
But he was a great guy. He was a butcher, but he loved to play cards and watch wrestling.
That's it. That's it.
All
and
right,
you're named after him. That's cool. Okay, that's a sad story, but, his name carries on.
Yeah. That's interesting how much a name, what's in a name, all that kind of stuff. So much history.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think if I've asked my dad this, my last name is spelled Digilio.
Mm-hmm.
Digilio, but I think we had an extra couple of letters in there when
they came over.
When they came over.
Yeah.
So
it's odd. Like so many people's names get Americanized. And all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's a ton of stories about that, about names being changed. My dad was just wondering this, and this was yesterday morning. All these years, my grandfather passed away before I was born. I never had a grandfather.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
My grandmother, one of my grandmothers died when I was 10, and the other one when I was 18. So I didn't really have a huge amount of time with the grandparent, thing.
Right.
Never had a grandfather, never. But my dad was just thinking about this, and this was yesterday. So it's been many, many years since he could have asked this question.
Sure.
Over 55 because he died right before I was born.
Mm-hmm.
My dad was like, I wonder why he didn't stay in New York when he came over from the old country. And what brought him to Chicago? He didn't have family.
Didn't know.
Yeah, he never knew. So my dad was just wondering out loud. He's like, I wonder why my dad just didn't stay in New York.
That is odd.
Yeah. Because he was fresh off the boat.
Yeah, Ellis
grandfather.
Island, all that.
Ellis Island, the whole deal. And but my dad was just thinking out loud now here 50 years later, I wonder why my dad didn't stay in Chicago.
Like he never
or
asked?
in New York.
Yeah.
And he never got to ask him. He didn't ask him.
Yeah, I remember once for a school project I interviewed my grandmother, and I was just like, tell me the story.
Yeah.
And it was a wild one. It was a wild one. I'll tell you that much. She will not go on boats ever again.
Did she come in from Scotland?
No, this is my mom's mom, so the Irish one.
Oh, Irish.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she came in from the west coast of Ireland.
Yeah.
Came straight to Chicago because she already had family here.
Right.
So I can't remember where she came in at, but she didn't go through New York or anything like that. She just straight to Chicago. But she will not go on boats again. That's for sure.
Is that right?
Yeah, she got terribly sick.
I can imagine. I can imagine what that must have been like. No, actually, I can't, quite frankly.
No.
So 312-981-7200. Who were you named after? What were you named after? Tell us the story. Phone lines are open at 312-981-7200.
Townstone Financial is synonymous with great rates, low closing costs, and phenomenal service to the thousands who have completed purchases and refinances with us since 2002. Hi, my name is Barry Sterner, owner of Townstone Financial. Let's hear about the Townstone experience from one of our customers.
I'm Christopher Nowak, a real estate agent with Castline Properties here in Chicago. We had a really complex deal. Zach Schwartz at Townstone was willing to pick up the phone while he was on vacation in Florida to make sure that this deal got done. Because the one thing that Townstone really focused focuses on is attention to their clients, attention to their customers, making sure they get the absolute best customer experience possible.
Remember, nobody values your business more than Townstone Financial, and I'm always available to answer your questions. Call me now at 312-896-2110. That's 312-896-2110, or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
Secretary of State facilities are now open, but until July 31st, only new drivers and those with expired licenses and IDs will be served. Vehicle stickers can also be renewed. There's no need to rush in. All expiration dates have been extended, and the Real ID deadline is now October 2021. Safety measures, including social distancing, are in place, so please be patient. Avoid lines by renewing online or by phone. For more information, visit cyberdriveillinois.com.
Do you have federal student loan debt? Kaplan Law Firm has the secret to lowering your monthly payment and eliminating thousands of dollars in federal student loan debt. If you work in the public sector, if you're a fireman, a police officer, a doctor, a nurse, you're likely qualified for thousands of dollars of forgiveness of your federal student. Not in the public sector? Kaplan Law Firm can still help to reduce your monthly student loan payments. Give Ray Kaplan a call at 312-294-8989 or visit financialrelief.com.
Larry Potash.
Breaking news, 2 men are now in custody.
He's real.
How about that?
He's trusted.
Protesters are expected to return to...
He's what makes watching news in the morning better.
I got the VHS tapes to prove it.
Watch Larry and the rest of the WGN-TV Morning News Team weekdays 4 to 10.
Hello. Nick Digilio here on 720 WGN. We are live in the Skyline studio, 18 stories above beautiful downtown Chicago. We're here till 4. And we'd love to hear from you at 312-981-7200. We're talking about the origin of your name. Were you named after someone or something? Do you have an interesting or weird story about that, or somebody in your family is? And we're also talking about things that were named after famous people. Like, I got some species here of animals and creatures that were named after famous people, and some of these are pretty hilarious. So, 312-981-7200 is the number. Let's see. Here is Tyrone. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Well, I was talking to your producer there a little bit, Nick, and I told him who I was named after, and he had no idea who that was. I said, you must be a new millennium. And I said, I'm sure Nick might know who it is because he's kind of old. And I'm sure Nick's father knows who it is because he's in that bracket. And I told him I was named after Tyrone Power.
Tom didn't know who Tyrone Power was?
Didn't know who he was.
Wow.
And the reason for that is...
He's a huge movie fan and historian, so I find that kind of hard to believe.
Now, I'm 62, and I really never saw any of Tyrone Power's movies, but when I started watching some of his movies, I thought this guy was pretty cool,
He was awesome.
And
Tyrone Power was awesome.
He played some of the greatest characters of all time, including the captain of the ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman.
Right, yeah.
And so I thought, boy, this guy is pretty cool, and he was in a movie called Crash Dive, which I really liked.
Yeah. No, he had a great career. He was great, Tyrone Power. It's very cool to be named after somebody that cool. So.
Yeah, care if I ask you a question, Nick?
Go ahead.
Well, the one guy said he used to watch wrestling, something like that, previous. I heard that Dick the Bruiser used to have an office in Chicago. Do you or anybody remember where that would have been?
I have no idea where it would be. But, Bob Luke's Wrestling was based in Chicago. So, obviously, he was part of Bob Luke's Wrestling. And so he obviously was in Chicago for quite a bit. But I have no idea where his office.
I wish I could pin down the address, boy.
Well, I have no idea. Can't help you with that, Tyrone. Thanks, buddy.
Okay, Nick.
All right. You don't know who Tyrone Power is?
I I do know who he is. The name did not register for me. Tyrone was not wrong when he called it Tyrone Power. I was like, I don't really know who that is. But Mark of Zorro,
the guy's a legendary actor. Man.
He's in Witness for the Prosecution, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
he's in a ton of. That's why I was like, what? How did Tom not know?
Hey, I'm not the thing that you have over me, not at all over me in terms of the deep knowledge. But the one thing that you can do, you will always do better than me, no matter what. You could be 100 years old. I have a lot of trouble with names.
Well, I
have a ton of trouble with names.
I will tell you this, and this is absolutely true. I used to be much better at it, much sharper at it than I am now. Because your brain goes a little nuts when you get older.
That's true.
I'm in my 50s now. So
we're like, what, 5 years from you to be, we're going to have to institutionalize you.
Yeah. Yeah, in less than a month, I'm going to be 55.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Man.
We're going to have to do the show live from Leavenworth.
Yeah, I guess so.
But yeah, now, looking at Tyrone Power's history,
no,
I definitely know who
he's a legend. He's a legend.
Yeah.
312-981-7200 is the phone number. Who were you named after, or what were you named after, the origin of your name? I want to hear some stories. 312-981-7200. Steve on WGN. Hey, Steve.
Hi, how you doing there?
All right.
Don't worry about getting older. Just think of it as an opportunity. You get AARP to sponsor your program.
Uh-huh.
Just look at it as another opportunity to get a sponsor.
I got my first AARP catalog in the mail when I was 41.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
I was 41, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why has this been sent to me?
They're really after you. They really want you to, okay, well, my middle name, actually, I'm named after my grandpa. Yeah. But actually, I was calling about a couple of things. I knew this girl, and her name was Elise, which we've seen before, but she was named, her mom was a big car nut, and she's named after the car, Elise Lotus.
Oh, okay.
And I told her she luckily wasn't a Yugoslavian. She could have been Yugo.
Yeah, that's true.
That would have been a tough thing. But, of course, a couple other ones. Chicken Tetrazzini.
Yeah.
That's opera singer. Famous opera singer, Tetrazzini.
Yep.
And then, of course, the verb gerrymanderer.
Yeah.
Gerrymandering. Who, of course, the name, the gerrymander, is a signer on the Declaration of Independence.
Mm-hmm.
So it is it actually was the vice president. Do you know how it ended up being gerrymander?
I do not.
Okay, I'll just read this. So it was he wrote the map. The map. Somebody thought the map that he wrote looked like a salamander, and then some other cartoonist or somebody came up with gerrymander.
Oh, okay.
So there you go.
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Yeah. Okay. Bye bye.
Wow. Okay. We're talking about the origin of names and how things got their names and how people got their names, and if you're named after somebody. 312-981-7200 if you want to jump in here on 720 WGN. So we got some species that have been named after famous people. I got this story here. Richard Dawkins fish. Having a genus named after you is an even greater accolade than having a single species named after you. Dawkins described it as a great honor. He told the BBC he was not the slightest bit offended that the fish discovered in Sri Lanka by scientist Rowan Penthegoda weren't higher up on the food chain. There's no such thing as evolutionary scale. Fish are wonderful creatures, and so I am delighted to be named. My name is being attached to 4 of these species. Very beautiful that they are, too. 312-981-7200 is the phone number. How about the Bob Marley parasite? A small crustacean parasite which feeds on fish in the Caribbean was given the name Ganthia marley, and that's named after Bob Marley. I named this species, which is truly a natural wonder, after Marley because of my respect I have for Marley's music, said Paul Sickle, a field marine biologist at Arkansas State University. All right, we got a few more of these, and we want to know the origin of your name, or if you have some interesting stories about where other people's names came from, people in your family, people that you know. If you've got like maybe a story of some famous people or how things got their names. I love going back and looking at origins for language and names and things like that. So we'll do a little history here and talk to you about how you were named. 312-981-7200. I got some weather for you. For today, mixed sun will give way to overcast in the afternoon, turning windy, warm, more humid. Showers and thunderstorms will reach the city from the south between 2 and 4 p.m. with wind gusts building up to almost 40 miles an hour and high of 89. Tonight, windy, warm, humid, showers and gusty thunderstorms, a few heavy downpours early and becomes more scattered, low of 59. For tomorrow, Wednesday, clouds mixed with sun, windy and cooler, several passing showers possible and a high of 79. Thursday, mostly sunny, breezy, with seasonable temps and comfortable humidity and a high of 78. Friday, partly sunny, similar temps, slight chance of a shower, high of 76. Sunday and Monday, mostly sunny, breezy, and cooler. High on Saturday of 69, high on Sunday of 70, and both days it'll be cooler near the lake. Currently 75 degrees at O'Hare, 76 at Midway, 76 at the lakefront. Okay, let's take us a break right here, and when we come back, we will get back on the phones at 312-981-7200 and talk more about the origins of your name, who you were named after, and what's the history of that. Plus, we've got things that you didn't know were named after people and species that were named after famous people. Right here on 720 WGN, 312-981-7200.
And just like that, the stock market recoups all its 2020 losses. What's next? Find out on the Wintrust Business Lunch at noon.
WGN.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bal Nandra from Ivy Solution and Ketamine Centers of Chicago. My clinic uses ketamine to conquer chronic pain, migraines, and fibromyalgia. Ketamine treatments from my clinic could reduce or even eliminate your need for addictive pain medication. Here's pro football star and my patient Jerry Zuma, who suffered for years from devastating migraines, describing how ketamine from Ivy Solution changed his life.
I had a history of migraines. I played in the NFL, and then I got hurt. Herniated disc, C4, C5, and then C5, C6 the second time. And that was a sign for me to go ahead and finish out my NFL career. Once that started to happen, I started getting more and more migraines. I talked to Dr. Bal a little bit about ketamine and decided to take a leap, and it's helped me tremendously.
It's time you conquer your migraines and chronic pain. Call for your free consultation in Chicago or Kansas City. 844-9-IV-MEDS. That's 844-948-6337. Or visit ketaminechicago.com. KETAMINE Chicago.com.
To most, it's just another sidewalk or parking lot. But to Robert R. Andreas & Sons, it's a work of art, perfectly paved with attention to detail. Andreas & Sons, a family-owned Chicagoland business with the experience to handle any job. Patios, stairs, foundations, driveways, loading docks, warehouse floors. Andreas & Sons does it all. Commercial, industrial, or residential. If your project requires concrete or asphalt, then you need to contact the experts, Andreas & Sons. For a free estimate, call 708-863-5735. That's 708-863-5735. Or just visit AndreasConstruction.com. Robert R. Andreas & Sons, general contractors specializing in high-quality professional concrete and asphalt solutions since 1956. Call 708-863-5735. That's 708-863-5735. Or visit AndreasConstruction.com.
This hour is sponsored by Unbound.org. Right now, there are young people across the world facing a tough choice. Continue their dream of education or drop out to help their family put food on the table. You can help change their future in a single moment. See how far your support can go at Unbound.org.
Yeah. All right. Hi. Nick Digilio here on 720 WGN. We are live 18 stories above beautiful downtown Chicago in the Skyline studio. And here until 4 o'clock, as we are every single morning from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m., keeping you company, keeping you informed, and keeping you through this. 312-981-7200 is the phone number if you've got some stories about the origin of your name or somebody else's name, where it came from, who you're named after. 312-981-7200 is the phone number. So there are some species named after famous people. You ready for this next one, Don? Beyonce horsefly. The Scapecia beyonceya, a rare species of horsefly found in Queensland, Australia, was named after the American singer Beyonce in January. Scientist Brian Lessard said it was the unique, dense golden hairs on the fly's abdomen that led me to name this fly in honor of that performer. So she's got a horsefly named after her, Beyonce. I wonder if she knows about it.
Surely she must.
Yeah. They must have contacted her and said, hey, we named a horsefly after you.
Because it is also loud and somewhat annoying.
Yeah.
No, that's me. Now, Beyonce is a nice person.
I mean, look, I don't have an opinion one way or the another about Beyonce, but I will say this. I'm completely baffled by the incredible sort of adoration that people have for Beyonce. I mean, fine. If you like her music, that's cool, but it's just insane how much adoration that she has. Like she's a queen. She's just a singer.
Well, think about like the Beatles, man. People were going bonkers.
But that's different because they're the Beatles.
She could be someone's Beatles.
Yeah, I don't get it. I just don't get it. You know, people freak out over her. You know, like, and celebrities are like, oh man, I was in the same elevator with Beyonce. It was unbelievable. And so what? She's just a singer and not a great one at that.
Oh, okay. Come on.
No. I don't like Beyonce's music. Never have.
You don't have to like the music, but, you know, real recognizes real. The talent is there. You can call Jim Morrison a drunk hippie. I'll abide by that. That's not entirely wrong. And I'm not far be it for me to call myself Beyonce's number one fan, but come on.
No.
All right. It's your radio show, man.
Can't do it. And seriously, I don't understand why people go completely insane over Beyonce. I just don't get it. So, all right. Where'd your name come from? 312-981-7200. Here is Daryl on WGN. Hi, Daryl.
Hey, good morning, Nick.
Hi.
Sometimes, I don't know if you remember the Allegheny comedy, the girl in the picture, Darla Hood?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my mom wanted a girl, but since I was a boy, instead of naming me Darla, she named me Daryl.
Oh, that's where it came from, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, my middle name, Alan, she had a thing for Alan Ladd.
Named after Alan Ladd, your middle name.
Yeah, I got two of them.
All right. All right, Daryl, thanks.
Oh, what? Do you have time for a Tyrone Power story?
I don't actually, but thank you for the call.
Okay.
All right. I couldn't really understand Daryl.
Yeah, it was a little not a great connection.
It was like,
that's all right. That's nice. Yeah.
Well,
phones.
Thanks for calling in, though. But I just couldn't understand you.
Alan Ladd and Shane.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Doughboy on WGN. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I have to agree with you on Beyonce. I think Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston are better, but that's just my opinion. But I have to agree with you on Beyonce. But here's my thing. I'm named after my dad's best friend, Russell. That's my first name. But my sister's middle name, my younger sister's middle name is Del Shay. Don't ask me where my mom got it from. But her middle name is Del Shay. My mom is actually named after my grandmother and my grandfather. So my grandfather's name was Theodore. My grandmother's name was Laverne, so they took the THE and the LA, combined it, and they got Thela. And then my little brother, we all got to name my little brother because he's the last one, so there's four of us. So we all got to name him. So his name was Christopher Joseph Spencer Adams. So he's got four names, including his last name, and he hates it. But, yeah, we all got to name him. So,
cool.
But that's where our origins came from.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know where my sister's middle name came from. I don't know where the Del Shay is. I guess it's French. I don't know. It might be even a made-up word.
Wait,
who knows?
Dolce, like D-U-L-C?
No, it's like Del Shay, D-E-L-S-H-A-E, I think, it's Del Shay.
All right.
So I don't know where that comes from, but Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
All right, man. You guys have a good night.
All right, buddy. Take care. Del Shay.
I like that. There's something to it.
Yeah. Let's see. Here's Joe on WGN. Hey, Joe.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
All right. What's up?
Hey, I was just calling in on names. Actually, I know you guys have been talking about the Beatles kind of on and off all night.
Yeah.
And I've got something for you on them with their name, the Beatles. Do you know how they were connected to Herman Munster? How the Beatles and their name of their band was connected to Herman Munster?
I do not.
They in 1964, when the Munsters came out and the Beatles were at their height of coming into play popularity, they made a talking Herman Munster doll, and you'd pull the string and it would talk and say different phrases. Well, one of the phrases it said was, "I like Beatles, real Beatles." Like they mentioned the band, but he didn't like the band. He liked the Beatles. I guess to eat Beatles or whatever. So the Beatles, they found out about that, and they actually had that doll changed where it didn't say that phrase anymore. So that's a connection on their name and Herman Munster.
Okay, that's weird.
So and that doll is actually very hard to find and worth a lot of money if you can get it.
Yeah.
The original one that talked about that. So
yeah.
And I got it.
Okay. All right.
So that's how I know.
All right.
So
Thanks, buddy.
It talks in his voice too. So it's pretty cool.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Joe.
All right. Thanks a lot.
It's weird.
Pop culture apocrypha, man.
Weird.
You know where the Beatles got their name originally? The Silver Beatles.
Yeah.
Which was the name of the biker group that Marlon Brando was in
Wild One?
Yeah, the Wild One. The Silver Beatles.
Yeah. And then it's weird how bands got their names. Led Zeppelin got their name, right?
Well, that was referencing the Hindenburg?
No. Led Zeppelin got their name from Keith Moon.
Really?
Yeah.
Did he say something went down like a Led Zeppelin?
He said your band is gonna go over like a lead balloon.
Oh, okay.
So they changed it to Zeppelin, but the inspiration, and they took the A out of lead, obviously. But that was Keith Moon. Keith Moon was like making fun of the band. I think he was talking to Jimmy Page, and Page was talking about like who's going to be in the band and that they're going to do this and that. And Keith Moon, not known to be very outspoken. That's what he said. That's the origin of the name. So, I don't know.
There was speaking of the Who, Keith Moon and the Who. Did you remember the band Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, and Titch?
Yes.
So apparently Pete Townshend almost joined that band in the early days.
I heard about that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I only know that because of the movie Death Proof, because there's a whole bit.
Yeah.
So it would have been Dave D, Dozy, Beaky, Mick, Titch, and Pete.
Yeah. I remember that from Death Proof.
Yeah. That's
yeah. And you were talking about titles, mentioned Quentin Tarantino. There are so many different, like, weird origin stories about why Reservoir Dogs is called Reservoir Dogs. Because it's like, why is it called Reservoir Dogs? What does that title even mean? I mean, the movie's great, obviously, but
sure.
Why is it called Reservoir Dogs?
I don't know.
And I don't think Tarantino has definitively answered that question about why you called it Reservoir Dogs. So, anyway, yeah. Titles of movies, that's a whole nother thing. Some titles of movies don't even make sense. Like you look at it, what's this movie about? Why is it called that? I understand why Congo is called Congo.
Yeah. Or Lawrence of Arabia. I wonder who that's about.
Lawrence of Arabia. He was an English guy. That's from Hollywood Nights.
Yeah.
Singing the music theme from Lawrence of Arabia, making up his own lyrics. He was an English guy. He came to fight the Turkish. You ever seen Lawrence of Arabia on the big screen?
No.
Oh, man.
I think the Music Box has done it before. Definitely.
I've seen it twice.
I've seen it on the program.
Very long time ago, like in the late 80s, they did a big anniversary re-release of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it at the old McClure Court Theater, which was one of the, swankiest, biggest theaters in the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
And it was unbelievable.
I can only imagine. Just the match cut.
It's unbelievable. So, yeah, what's one of the famous cuts in film history, along with the Bone in 2001, when the Bone turns into the spaceship. One of the greatest moments in film history. I saw that on the big screen, too. So, the last 15 minutes of 2001 is insane.
Yeah.
Do you know the story, but when that movie came out in 1968?
You'd have to.
People would.
Oh, they'd take acid, right?
They would time it so they took acid when the last 15 minutes kicked in. So they timed it so that when they took the acid, they would be tripping, and they would go down to the front of the theater and lay down on the floor and watch the last 15 minutes tripping on acid. It was a thing that was happening like all over the country. Well, it was 1968. A lot of people were experimenting with acid in 1968. But, that last 15 minutes of that movie is still like, I watch it and I'm like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah, it's, somebody explained to me the space baby, the space child, the star child, that's what it's called.
Star child, yeah. It's about rebirth, There's a lot going on in that movie, but it's so ambiguous, and it forces you to go, what the hell is happening? And that's one of the reasons why I think that people love it so much, that it has such a strong following, because you interpret it the way you want to interpret it.
Sure.
Kubrick doesn't make it clear at all.
No.
But that's an amazing film.
Well, it was good practice for him to film the moon landing.
Please. You know what my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie is?
What?
Barry Lyndon. It's not a popular choice.
You and 5 other people. Not saying I dislike it. It's just
it's my favorite. It's my favorite Stanley Kubrick movie.
Shot entirely by candlelight.
Yep. And just so I got to see that one on the big screen too, which was unbelievable. The Music Box did like a thing a bunch of years ago where every Tuesday afternoon during the summer they did matinees. And I went a bunch of times, and I saw Barry Lyndon. I had seen Barry Lyndon many times on video and stuff like that, but man, to see it on the big screen. But no, that's my favorite of all the Kubrick movies. I know it's a weird choice, but
well, it takes a special type of person to be like, you know what, it's 2:00.
I'm going to see Barry Lyndon
on a Tuesday.
I'm going to see Barry Lyndon. I'm going to spend 3.5 hours at the Music Box. And I remember it was 100 degrees out.
Oh my God!
But the Music Box was ice cold.
Right. So I mean,
I sat. I got out of the hot weather for 3.5 hours.
Good excuse.
So.
Well, I'm sure the powdered wig didn't help.
Yeah. I think only Stanley Kubrick could make Ryan O'Neal good. Like really good. Now he's good in a few things. He's funny in a few movies. He's hilarious in Fever Pitch, unintentionally. But he's like. He's exceptionally good in Barry Lyndon. God, I love that movie. All right. I've got some weather for you, and then we'll come back and wrap it up. What's the origin of your name? Were you named after anybody or anything? We also have some other species that were named after famous people, and we're talking about that, and the phone lines are open at 312-981-7200. Got some weather. Today, mixed sun gives way to an overcast in the afternoon. Turning windy, warm, and more humid. Showers and thunderstorms reach the city between 2 and 4 p.m. Winds gust up to 40 miles an hour and a high of 89. Tonight, windy, warm, humid, showers, gusty thunderstorms. A few heavy downpours are possible. And then they become more scattered. Low of 59. For tomorrow, Wednesday, clouds mixed at times with sun. Windy and cooler. Several passing showers could be. High of 79. Thursday, mostly sunny. Breezy, seasonable temperatures and comfortable humidity and a high of 78. Friday, partly sunny. Similar temps, chance of a shower, high of 76. Saturday and Sunday, mostly sunny, breezy, and cooler. High on Saturday, 69. High on Sunday, 70. Cooler near the lake on both of those days. It's currently 75 degrees at O'Hare, at 76 at Midway, 76 at the lakefront. Okay, let's take a break. We'll come back and wrap up the show. Tell us the origin of your name, where it came from.
Make sure you breathe clean, healthy air. Green Tea is now offering an in-depth total home disinfectant service.
Service to a Green Tea.
Hi, this is Tonya Khoury from my family business, Green Tea Air Duct Cleaning. Our crews are bonded Green Tea employees you can trust in your home. They'll clean your intakes and returns of dust, mold, and allergens. You'll breathe fresh, healthy air.
800-5 Green Tea.
And now, for a limited time, get our air duct cleaning special, only $97. Yes, our experienced staff will thoroughly clean your air ducts for just $97. Plus, our 100% satisfaction Green Tea guarantee. Call Green Tea now for details. 800-5 Green Tea.
Green Tea Services. Service to a Green Tea. 800-5 Green Tea.
Be sure to ask us about our in-depth total home disinfectant service. Call Green Tea now, 800-5 Green Tea, or greenteaservices.com.
My name is David Hochberg, and I hope everyone is safe and healthy. Today, meet Sue and Tom, happily married couple who were about to close on their first home when the pandemic hit Chicago in mid-March. Sue and Tom called because they were concerned about purchasing a home with so many uncertainties surrounding the economy. I answered their questions, assured them that we would cancel their loan if they did not feel comfortable purchasing at this time, and recommended they talk it over and call me in the morning. Sue and Tom called me the next morning to thank me for honestly answering their questions and not pressuring them into purchasing the home. If you are purchasing a home and would like to work with a lender who will always look out for your financial best interest, especially during these challenging economic times, like we help Sue and Tom, please call 855-56-DAVID or visit 56david.com. That number again, 855-563-2843 or visit 56david.com. Tune into Home Sweet Home Chicago, hosted by me, Saturdays at 10 a.m. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1124061.
Some people stay far away from the door if there's a chance of it opening up. They hear a voice in the hall outside.
I am that person that he's describing. I am totally that antisocial person that doesn't like people in the hallway by my door.
You're the innocent man.
That's it. That's right. So 312-981-7200 is the phone number. Nick Digilio here on WGN. Hey, did you know that there is a John Cleese lemur? We're talking about species that are named after people, famous people. Actor and comedian John Cleese had a woolly lemur named after him in 2005. The Madagascan Avi Cleese, which is endangered, was named by Urs Thalmann as a tribute to Cleese's promotion of nature conservation in films such as Fierce Creatures. Cleese told the New Scientist that he was really touched because he is absurdly fond of those little creatures. John Cleese lemur.
I bet he does a few silly walks.
Yeah. Okay. Here's Kevin on WGN. Hi, Kevin.
Yeah, hi there. Yeah, my mother tells me that I was named after a comic strip character in Chicago that was named Kevin the Bold. He was a forerunner to I guess Calvin and Hobbes.
Yeah.
He would have he would have these mind skates where he would go off and do furious battles and things like that. And she says she named him after me. She didn't know that I would grow up to be a writer. So I guess maybe some people just grow into their names.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah, and also you want to know about things that are named after people. Buckminster Fuller, he was the one that made the domes. He when they realized these various things that carpenters are made after, they named one after him called Buckminster Fullerene. And also the wide cheeks, Dizzy Gillespie.
Yeah.
The people that have these broadened cheeks to get out, they named those after him.
Yeah. Well, he has the biggest cheeks ever, so that makes sense. Kevin, thanks.
Yeah. Sure.
Dizzy Gillespie.
Yeah, I mean the cheeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man.
How about the George Bush beetle? Former U.S. President George Bush, Vice President Dick Cheney, and Defense Secretary Donald Rumsfeld all have beetles named after them in 2005. Quentin Wheeler, one of the scientists who discovered them, said the decision to name 3 species after politicians had nothing to do with their physical features. One has to be creative with names, he told the BBC. We are 2 of the only politically conservative scientists around, and we decided to stick our necks out. He said Mr. Bush called him and thanked him for the gesture.
Hey, man, I got a beetle named after me.
Was that supposed to be George Bush?
Yeah, it was a little bit more Clinton. Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
Kate Winslet's got a beetle named after her.
Jeez, what's people with beetles?
Another beetle. I'm not even going to try and pronounce this, but her name's in the middle of it. Was named after actress Kate Winslet because of her role in the film Titanic, which Tom just told me he watched over the weekend.
I did.
And you loved it.
I did. I've spent so many years discrediting it, speaking poorly of it. Started it at 11:30 on Saturday night. Finished it at about 2:30, 2:45 Sunday morning.
Yep.
Masterpiece.
I wouldn't go that far.
Masterpiece.
I like Titanic. I'm not crazy about it till it hits the iceberg, and then after it hits the iceberg, it rules. So she's got a beetle named after her, Kate Winslet. Hugh Hefner has a rabbit named after him. Well, of course he does. Of course he does. What else? What other animal are you going to name after Hugh Hefner? Scientists named the marsh rabbit Silvagus palistris hefneri, found in the southeastern United States after founder of the Playboy Empire, which has a cartoon bunny as its logo and employs waitresses dressed in bunny costumes. Hefner has donated money to protect the endangered rabbits. That's the only thing that you could name. Well, it's the only animal that you could name Hugh Hefner after is a rabbit. So, did we really need to get the details here? Do people not know that that Playboy has a rabbit as their logo, and that they have women dressed up as rabbits?
It's for the youngins,
for bunnies as bunnies.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, like by the time, I did not grow up with Playboy being the powerhouse that it was. I mean, the reality show came. What was that called? The Girls Next Door.
Oh yeah,
that was kind of the last.
That was about the three. He had 3 girlfriends, right?
Yeah, something like that. That was the last kind of push of, oh yeah, Playboy is a thing. It exists, but no one subscribed to Playboy anymore.
I did.
Well, yeah, but they got.
I subscribed to Playboy. I have stacks of Playboy magazines in boxes in my apartment.
I'm sure. I don't think you're alone. People collect it.
I subscribed to that. I subscribed to that magazine for years.
Yeah.
So. And I did read the articles. I'm not just saying that. I did.
No, I believe I and out of anybody, I believe you.
They would, and I looked at the naked women. I'm not going to say I didn't look at the naked women because of course I looked at the naked women. But they would have they had really great writers write for Playboy, incredible,
big names.
Yeah,
big names wrote for Playboy,
like Pulitzer Prize winners and things like that. I mean, it was great. And the Playboy interview, always long and extensive and fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was a terrific magazine, and on top of it, had naked women in it.
It's what else could you want?
It's the frosting on the cake, man. But a lot of excerpts from novels debuted in Playboy before they were actually released, and some short stories that would later be a part of the collection. Like this Chuck Palahniuk, I'll never forget reading this. Chuck Palahniuk. Who, for people who don't know, he's the author of Fight Club and other really terrific Choke and other really terrific books. He had a story that debuted in Playboy about a guy in a pool. Do you know the name of this? Do you know the name of it?
Guts.
It's a one-word title. Guts. It's the first time I've ever read something and nearly vomited. I mean, it's a guy in a pool who gets stuck on the On the air vent?
Yeah, something with the suction.
Oh,
it's
my
just,
God.
yeah, we'll leave it at that.
I remember reading it and just going, okay, I'm going to vomit. I believe I'm seriously going to vomit. Guts. Oh, man. Yeah, that debuted in Playboy. So, and then finally, Prince Charles has a frog named after him. Earlier this year, a tree frog was named after His Royal Highness in recognition of his charity work to protect rainforest habitat. Hylocytrus Prince Charles Sea, or the Prince Charles Stream tree frog. It was discovered in Ecuador in 2008. All right. Hey, Airborne, tomorrow on the show, I should say, tonight when we get back here at 11, we're going to do Tech Talk with the great Ian Scher. Always a lot of fun to talk with him. And then, we were talking about that treasure hunter with the treasure of Forest Fen. We're going to talk with the one of the treasure hunters about it. And Know Your Onion is also going to be a part of it. So, all right, the news is coming up.
The latest social media news, including a new Facebook policy and what you should know about posting pictures on Twitter. Bob Surratt, first thing in the morning.
Bob Surratt, Radio Chicago, WGN.
A new exhibit from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Stay tuned. Rock on TV. Artifacts from the Jackson 5, Sonny and Cher, Elvis, Cyndi Lauper, ZZ Top, Eric Clapton, and more. Now at the Museum of Broadcast Communications, 360 North State Street, Chicago. From Bandstand to Gaga, let's rock on TV. For info and tickets, visit museum.tv.
Thanks, everybody, for listening. Stay tuned now. We're going over to Bradley Place, the TV side of WGN, get some news from them, and then we'll come back here, and Bob Surratt will be here to take you through the morning drive right here on WGN.
Serving the great Midwest from Chicago, this is 720 WGN. And on your smart device, just by saying play WGN Radio on TuneIn.
WGN Chicago.
A Nexstar Media Group station.
This is Chicago's very own WGN Morning News at 4.
A day after thousands pay tribute at a memorial, family and close friends will gather today for a private funeral for George Floyd, who died at the hands of Minneapolis police officers.
A New Mexico police officer is charged with manslaughter for using a chokehold on a man, a hold that killed him.
And there are growing calls to defund police departments across the country, including here in Chicago. Good morning. I'm Dan Ponce.
And I'm Lauren Jiggets. Thanks for joining us this morning. First, let's check in with Morgan Kolkmeyer for a look at our forecast. Good morning, Morgan.
Hey, you guys, good morning. We've got cloud cover here starting to move in. We'll get into, I think, some sunshine today before showers and thunderstorms roll in here this afternoon. And with that comes heat, humidity, gusty winds, and again, a few more clouds with heavy rainfall and maybe even a severe storm or two. You can see what's left of Cristobal spinning off to the south there and kind of seeing those outer bands push a little bit closer to the central part of Illinois, and then that continues to scoot toward us as we get into your daytime hours. So expect some scattered storms here, especially as we get into your late day and evening hours, but we will keep a slight chance as we get into your early afternoon as well. Overall, hot and humid and windy today. It's 74 still at O'Hare right now with a mostly cloudy sky. We'll make it back into those upper 80s, near 90 today. Lakefront going to be closer to the 80 mark. Humidity is big time on the increase, and again, so are the gusty winds. We'll get into the details of the storms, the winds, the humidity coming up here in just a few minutes. Dan and Lauren, back to you.
Thanks, Morgan. We have some breaking news from overnight. One person is dead and another in fair condition after being shot in the Alco Gardens community. Their two were standing in a courtyard when someone opened fire at around 10 o'clock last night. One victim was shot in the head. A 19-year-old man was shot in the leg. The person shot in the head was pronounced dead at the hospital. His identity has not yet been released, and no one is in custody.
Also breaking overnight, Chicago police rescued a man from a crash at the 290 ramp at around 3 this morning. A silver sedan entered the ramp at high speed with a black sedan following. The black sedan struck the barriers at the 700 block of South Austin. Police were able to extract a 29-year-old driver from the smoking car. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition. An 18-year-old man is in good condition, and another man and woman were taken to Mount Sinai Hospital, also in good condition.
Family members and close friends of George Floyd will gather for a private funeral today after thousands lined up in Houston to pay their respects. A non-stop line of mourners attended a public visitation for Floyd more than a week after he died at the hands of Minneapolis police. Following today's private service, Floyd will be laid to rest next to his mother. Just before yesterday's visitation began, Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden met with Floyd's family, including his 6-year-old daughter Gianna.